Sadtu is taking Cosatu to court over a decision to support the SACP in next year's elections. In its court papers, the teachers' union says it is not happy with the resolution to support the party outside the ANC-led alliance. We're now joined by Sadtu Deputy General Secretary Nkosana Dolopi. Thank you very much, sir, for your time this afternoon. Let's start with a little bit of background. How did we get here?
Good afternoon, Dudu. Good afternoon to your viewers. Thanks for having us. Thank you once more for allowing us a platform such that we are able to explain to the nation and maybe to yourself as journalists as to how we got here. Firstly, let's start saying we are not going to court because we are saying the Communist Party should not contest the elections in 2024. So we are not going to court because we are against support and or not support of the Communist Party. We are going to court because we are of the view that the Cosatu constitution ought to be protected. Normal rules of Cosatu in terms of management of processes that lead to decisions ought to be protected. The processes that led to the decision we feel were flawed. That is why we are going to court. It is not about being against Cosatu taking a decision to support the Communist Party and or not support the Communist Party and or our support for the African National Congress. It has nothing to do with that. It is just a normal issue of process, a constitutional matter that ought to be corrected. So that's the issue about this thing here. We raised it from the floor of the Congress last year. We advised the delegates that this discussion was not brought properly in front of the National Congress. We continued after the National Congress through many meetings that were convened by Cosatu to advise them that the process that led to this so-called decision was not followed properly in terms of the constitution of Cosatu. And that's why after we have tried so many times, two Central Executive Committees, the one was last in February, even after the Central Executive Committee in February, there were other meetings that we were part of trying to advise the Federation to follow its processes when it wants to come to any decision. So it's not about support and or no support for the Communist Party.
What processes were meant to be followed that were not followed?
In terms of the constitution of Cosatu, each time we prepare for a National Congress, all affiliates are invited to submit motions that will then inform the policy direction of Cosatu. So all affiliates are then given a time frame of up to 30 days before the National Congress to submit such motions. The General Secretary will then receive, the General Secretary of Cosatu will then receive such motions from all the affiliates. He will then circulate those motions from the different affiliates again to all the affiliates. That then allows different affiliates to see what is being sponsored by the other affiliates, such that we are preparing ourselves for whatever decisions or motions that are being sponsored by other affiliates. On this one, there was no such motion that was received by the General Secretary of Cosatu 30 days before the National Congress, and therefore there was no circulation of such a motion by the General Secretary of Cosatu because it was not there. So when we arrived at the Congress in September last year, there was no such a motion. So that's what the process we said was supposed to be followed. But another second way that they could have introduced the discussion could have been at the floor of the Congress to introduce a special motion. That again was not done. And that's why we are saying that we did not follow the processes correctly, and therefore we should be avoiding taking decisions without following the constitution of Cosatu, without following the rules that determine anything that will come to a decision of the Federation. So I want to emphasize the point. I hope journalists will also understand it. We are not in court because we are against the Communist Party standing for elections in 2024. We are not in court because we don't support the Communist Party for standing for elections in 2024. If that discussion was brought to us in a proper way, like I'm saying, 30 days before the Congress being circulated by the General Secretary, we definitely would have had a view at the floor of the Congress, which was not the case now.
Understood. How should we then understand the point where the situation is heading to the courts? Does this mean that you exhausted all options with the various impacted parties, and what was the level of engagement there, or what was the tone of their reply?
Like I said, we started at the Congress. The first day when the motion was presented, we cautioned the Congress that you can't entertain this motion because it's not proper. It was not introduced properly to the National Congress. So we also advised the National Congress at the floor of the Congress that you have an option here at the floor to introduce a special motion that could be entertained by the delegates of the Congress. That was not done. After the Congress, we have gone into many, many meetings. Some of them were resolutions, committees that were convened. Some of them I attended personally. Some of them are attended by a secretariat officer. Some of them attended by our general secretary. We have gone to 2 central executive committees. One was in November, December last year, the last CEC. We raised this issue again in February this year. We raised this issue. So internally, we are satisfied as Sadtu that we have tried our best to try to advise our comrades, our leaders, that this should not be the way of coming to a decision. It's unfortunate that this flouting of the constitution of the rules is happening when it is linked to such an important discussion of the Communist Party having to contest and or not contest. It could have been any other decision, and we would have still raised the same issue as Sadtu to say that follow your rules when you want to take a decision. So it's just that it's now linked with the Communist Party standing and not standing, and I don't think we should do that. Like I'm saying, it's a matter of principle. We would have raised the same issue if it was any other decision. When rules are flouted, when you offend your constitution, when you don't follow your processes, then we need to be advised that don't do it like that, because you are setting a wrong precedent, a dangerous precedent for following generations. They will use the wrong precedents to take decisions even in the future.
What do you perceive as behind the flouting of the rules to go ahead this without the necessary consultation or even putting a motion forward? Do you perceive there's something sinister happening in the background?
No, I will not go into perceiving of everything. Safe to say, we still just advising our leaders in the Federation. We are advising the Central Executive Committee to say, look, this is an old federation established in 1985. They have gone through so many, have won so many victories. Let's not destroy it by small things of not small things, in fact, fundamental issues of undermining the constitution of the federation after so many, many years. Because the fear we have as a union is that if this is allowed, we are afraid that many other decisions in the future could follow the same kind of route. So we are just trying to stop and protect Cosatu, her constitution, her rules and processes in such a way that it is not repeated in future. Even if we leave, because all of us will come and go as leaders, but the federation should be protected, her constitution should be protected, her processes should be protected. If you do it the right way, who knows, we could have come to the same decision to say the Communist Party must follow this route and or not this route. But we could not go to substance for up until you attend to the processes, the procedures.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time this afternoon. Sadtu, Deputy General Secretary Nkosana Dolopi.